Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another DC Comics deck building game. This is for the standalone expansion, Rivals, Batman versus Joker. This is the first one they did where it was basically a two-player game. And so instead of having all this different stuff, you're playing head-to-head. One player is playing as Batman, one is playing as a Joker. All the cards in the set are themed either kind of like Batman or Batman characters, or Joker themes to kind of do that. They have made further expansions with Green Lantern versus Sinestro, and then they did a box called Confrontations, which adds Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Zatanna as heroes versus Lex Luthor, Ceres, Ocean Master, and Felix Spouse as bad guys. So then you can mix and match all these characters, and you can play more. You can play 2 versus 2 or 2 versus 1. Some different options there. And then lots of the cards can be mixed in with any of the other sets. I did do a video you can check out to see where I kind of talk about the different games and how stuff mixes together, so I'm not going to get into too much of that in here. This does add a few twists, though, to the regular game. So if you're familiar with the regular deck building game and you're wondering if you should pick up this to gain some more cards, some of the cards work just fine, some don't. It does add a couple of different modes to it. But if you enjoy that gameplay style, this is easy to pick up because the base of it plays the exact same. Now, two things being said with this is this has the old DC logo, so they are reprinting all the older sets with the updated DC logo, which looks like this one. So that'd be one difference. And then the other difference they made specifically for this game is the later sets, Green Lantern, and then the Confrontations, each character has a little symbol noting which cards belong to which character. And this game will update that. And I'll show you what those are in a little bit. Yeah, if we go over the cards on the same type of rule book as the other thing, one difference is you get 3 character cards instead of 1. You still have your punches, your vulnerabilities. All the same card types are here. Starter cards, weakness, villains, equipment, all that stuff stays the same. You still have your lineup that everyone shares. But now there is no super villain or nemesis deck because you're playing directly against the opponent player. So that's one big difference there. Otherwise, gameplay, it works the exact same thing. You play your cards, you gain power, you buy cards. End of the game. So the game ends if you defeat your opponent's last character, you win instantly. Or if you're unable to fill all 5 slots of the lineup. If you're unable to fill all the areas, then you add up victory points. It's kind of a different way to win. So it's like if you can't beat the villain, you can try that. There's some attack defense cards. So the one big difference is this Confrontation, which is also the name of the big box set. So that has to deal with attacking a specific character. So I'm not going to get too much into the rest of like the rules. I did do a video where I explained how to kind of play the game. We're going to first just look at our big character cards here. So we start with Batman here. So what it is each of the oversized character cards will have a different number on the bottom. The original characters don't have that. So if I grab like Wonder Woman from the base set, she doesn't have that. She doesn't have victory points. She doesn't have any of that other stuff. That is exclusive to the Rivals Confrontation characters. So you have a 9-point, a 12-point, and a 15-point. So you start off with your level 9, and then your opponent has to then spend 9 points to beat them, like you would do with the Nemesis or Supervillain deck, but instead you're attacking your player. But the difference is to attack another player, you have to do a confrontation. So at the beginning of your turn, you announce that that's what you're doing. Then any cards you play only go towards that confrontation. You can't then buy new cards in the thing. If you have something that says it can gain stuff, it doesn't matter. All you're trying to do at that point is add up your current points to beat them. You might draw more cards. You might maybe play something that might help you gain cards. but you can't use your points. You can't buy a new card and then be like, oh, I have 11 points. I'll buy this 2-cost card, then I'll fight Batman. You have to decide one way or the other. Or vice versa, you can't play a bunch of cards and then, oh, I got a bunch of things that let me draw, and I got this, now I have enough to take them out. You have to decide at the beginning of your turn if you're going to confront your opponent. So it kind of puts a little bit more strategy into the game. Because you can't, like any other time you're fighting a nemesis, you could play a bunch of cards and then, oh, I got this combo, I drew this card really helped me, now I have enough points to attack them. This one you kind of have to either hope you have enough in your hand currently or gamble on that, and if it fails, then you kind of wasted a turn. But it makes it a little bit more interesting. And then each character has their own special ability. So if the Joker player beats my Batman level 9, then I switch to my level 15, and then I gain a different ability, so on and so forth. And we'll look at those guys in just a minute. So the other thing I did want to show off was the thing with the symbols. So, for example, we have this superpower for Batman, World's Greatest Detective. Clearly this is a Batman card. But what happens in the later sets is, if you're playing Green Lantern, they get a little Green Lantern symbol. Or, like Sinestro has a Sinestro Corps symbol. Or Confrontations, you'll get Superman for this piece of equipment, or Wonder Woman. And then all the other characters have them. And the idea of those are just so that if you want to mix and match, so if you want to instead play Batman versus Lex Luthor, you can just take out all the Joker cards, then take all the Lex Luthor cards from that set, put them in a deck and play them together. If you're playing multiple players, if you're playing 4 players, they recommend in the Confrontation book to always keep like Superman and Lex Luthor in there because of the certain cards there. But you can always do each one because every character gets a little bit different stuff. Like even in this set, for example, if we're looking at superpowers, Batman has 1, 2, 3 different superpower cards, where Joker has 2, 3, he has 4. So the Joker has more, quote unquote superpowers than Batman. But then if we look at equipment, Batman gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equipment, where Joker only gets 2. So they're not necessarily split right down the deck. But now while you're buying cards, Batman can buy Joker cards, Joker can buy Batman cards. That doesn't make a difference. So that's the one difference there. Alright, so we got our normal starting cards that we have in the regular game. So they give us all of our punches. We have 14, so it's 7 for each player. Just give us +1 power. We have our vulnerabilities. And now in the other sets, they actually do something that's really neat, and I don't know if in the reprint of this set they'll do that as well. Is in the Green Lantern Sinestro, half of your cards have Green Lantern characters for your starting cards, the other half have Sinestro. Just kind of like your good side versus the bad side. These are all Batmans, regardless. And then Confrontations did the same idea. They didn't split it up for each character, but they split them in half. So like half of them have, I think, like Lex Luthor or a villain character, and then the other half have, I think, Superman or a hero character. So that way, if you're playing your deck, you're playing with like a picture of a hero on it, or a hero that has a vulnerability versus just the same cards. So maybe when they reprint this, they will reprint that with separate cards. I don't know if they will or not. Because they might not want people to think they have to go out and rebuy a brand new set of cards. This also has the kick deck, which has +2 power. So those 3 things, as well as weaknesses, are the same in the regular game. Nothing different there. So that's just an extension there. So then what's different are the cards in the different piles. So let's look at our main characters a little bit more in depth here. So we have Batman. We've had him up for a bit, but it says, at the end of your turn, draw an extra card if you bought or gained 1 or more equipment during your turn. So this is a very Batman thing. He likes to buy equipment, he gains a bonus. His level 12, his level 2 one, which I also think they added a thing on there so it says level 1, level 2, level 3, just to help as a reminder. Once during each of your turns, if you play a hero and the equipment, play a non-location card from the lineup, then return it. So if you play those two, you gain a bonus. And then his third one is during a confrontation, +1 power for each equipment and hero you play. So Batman wants to play equipment cards and he wants to play heroes. The Joker, on the other hand, says at the end of your turn, draw an extra card if you bought or gained one or more non-kick superpower during your turn. So if he buys superpowers, he's going to gain a bonus. Is level 2 is once during each of your turns, if you play a villain and a superpower, reveal the top card of the main deck, play it, and then return it. And then his third one is during a confrontation, +1 power for each villain and superpower you play. So he wants to get the other two types of cards, which then only leaves locations which nobody really plays with because there's so few of them. Alright, so we're going to look at the different cards. We're going to start with our heroes, who are all Batman-themed characters. So, yeah, so that's kind of neat. So all the heroes are always all Batman. All the villains are all Joker. And then, like, when you get to the confrontation set, it kind of, they're the same thing. All the heroes are hero characters, but then they're split between the 4 different character types. So we have Commissioner Gordon. +2 power block. You may discard this card during a confrontation. If you do, add 2 to your character's cost this turn. So this will help you stop one of your opponent's attacks. Now this is one of the things where this card won't work as well being mixed in with other stuff. You can still mix it in. It's a 3-cost card. It gets you 2 power, which isn't bad. But it has a block that gets you bonus for confrontation, which wouldn't do anything during a regular game. So blocks are special keywords. Says when your opponent confronts you, you may utilize block cards from your hand to increase your character's cost. You must wait for your opponent to play all the cards they wish to play during confrontation before you may play blocks. Then play block cards to increase your number higher than your opponent's power total. Raising it to even isn't good enough. If your opponent has amassed more power than your blocks can overcome, no need to waste them at a lost cause. So that's actually kind of a neat idea. Is you just, so basically if I have 9-cost Batman and Joker plays 10 points against me, I could play Commissioner Gordon to block that and add 2, so now I'm at 11, so now he can't beat me. But if he played 20 against my level 9, there's no way I'm going to have probably enough block cards to do it, so I don't have to gamble them. So I like that they're reactionary versus, oh, this person plays a confrontation, and then you play a block card right away to up your thing, or you have to play it during their turn. So it'd be like, I mean, other games would probably do it that way, where it'd be like, okay, so the Joker plays, they're at 7. Alright, I'm going to play a block card, and then, you know, oh, now it's up to 11 instead of 9. Now the Joker's like, oh, I can't beat that. You know, or they could keep playing cards. You know, I still have 4 cards in my hand, you know. So at least it's kind of nice that way. Your opponent cannot play additional cards to overcome your character's new cost. You must play all the cards you wish you could play, then announce he is done playing. Then is your chance to stop him. The increased cost of your character only lasts till the end of turn. Block cards may be played during your turn just like any other card, but the block text is not applicable. So yeah, that's it's a neat way to do that block mechanic. Alright, and a block only works for confrontation. It's not defense, which is against attacks. So you have Huntress, +2 power. You may destroy a card in your discard pile. Now this is a card you could easily slot into other games. You could also bring cards from the other games into here, but the more you add, it's going to kind of, you have to swap out something here or there. Or if you only add a few cards, you might be okay, but if you add too many, like you mix this with the base set, there might be too many cards in the pile. You're not going to come across confrontation type cards quickly enough. We have Black Canary, +2 power. You may destroy a villain in the lineup. During confrontation, add +3 power if there is no villains in the lineup. Catwoman, +2 power. During a confrontation, play the top card of that foe's deck, and then put it in his discard pile. Oracle, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, draw one of them, put the other on top of your deck. Batwoman, +1 power and draw a card. Robin, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is an equipment, plus power equal to the revealed card's cost. Otherwise, draw it. Red Robin, +4 power. Red Hood, +2 power. If you successfully confront a foe this turn, you may destroy up to 2 cards in your hand or discard pile. Nightwing, reveal and draw the top card of your deck. If it is an equipment, repeat this process. Vicky Vale, draw a card. Alfred Pennyworth, put a card from your discard pile on top of your deck. Lucius Fox, +1 power, defense. You may discard this card to avoid an attack. If you do, add 1 to your character's cost this turn. And then finally, Superman, +4 power, blocked. You may discard this card during a confrontation. If you do, add 4 to your character's cost this turn. Oh, sorry about that. My phone went off. So it says, block. You may discard this card during a confrontation. If you do, add 4 to your character's cost this turn. Alright, so there is our heroes. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to look at the Batman stuff first, and then we'll jump in and we'll look at the Joker stuff. So we're going to have 2 copies of The World's Greatest Detective, +1 power, and draw a card. Defense. You may reveal this card from your hand to avoid an attack. 2 copies of Martial Artist, +2 power, block. During a confrontation, may discard this card. If you do, add 3 to your character's cost this turn. 2 copies of Billionaire. It says, during confrontation, gain the top card of the main deck, put it into your hand, otherwise, +2 power. Yeah, so it's actually fun. During confrontation, you gain an extra card, which should definitely put you over the top if you needed it to. We're going to have some equipment now. We got 2 copies of the Bat Signal. +3 power. During a confrontation, put a hero from your discard pile into your hand. 2 copies of Grappling Hook. +2 power. Block. You may discard this card during your confrontation. If you do, add 2 cards to your character's cost this turn. So now, like in normal gameplay, you don't have to play every card. So, if, like, a good example of maybe, like, Bat Signal here. So, +3 power is definitely good. But if you're using it during confrontation, hey, I got 3 power. But if you determine you already have enough power before playing this, let's say you have, you can make 11, and you're fighting Joker that has 9. So, like, okay, you're fighting, they might not have a confrontation, or an ability that gets them up to 3, or whatever. So you decide not to play this card, because you don't want to put a hero from your discard pile into your hand for some reason. There's no good reason not to, because at the end of the turn it's going to go back there anyhow. But there might, if for some reason you didn't want to do that, that's an option. We have 2 copies of Batmobile. If this is the first card you play during this turn, discard your hand. Otherwise, draw 4 cards. And draw 4 cards. Otherwise, +2 power. 2 copies of Batarang. +1 power and draw a card. Defense, you may discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card. And then 2 copies of the Utility Belt. Draw 2 cards and then discard a card. Block, you may discard this during confrontation. If you do, add 3 to your character's cost. And then we will have some locations. So we're going to get Wayne Manor. Ongoing. Once during each of your turns, put a hero from your discard pile at the bottom of your deck. Or we have the Batcave. Ongoing +1 power during a confrontation. Alright, so then if we look at the Joker's cards, we'll look at the villains first. So we have Mr. Freeze. So this is going to be more like Batman villains versus direct Joker associates. Plus 2 power, attack. Each build discards an equipment card. So this potentially, but being the fact is Batman can still buy villains. Now if you made it so the villains can only buy villain cards, heroes can only buy villain or hero cards, kind of like the crisis modes, that would make this a lot more difficult. Because then that way heroes would never have any attack cards, because hero cards don't attack, so Batman would never have attack cards. And Joker have all of them. They kind of one-side the mission. So then we have the Penguin, just plus 2 power. Two-Face. 1 power and choose odd or even. Each foe discards a card with that cost. 0 is even. Victor Zaz. Plus 1 power, you may destroy a weakness or vulnerability in your hand or discard pile. Ra's al Ghul. Plus 3 power. During a confrontation, you may gain a hero or villain from the destroyed pile and put it in your hand. Scarecrow. Attack. Each foe gains a weakness. During a confrontation, plus 2 power for each weakness in that foe's discard pile. Harley Quinn. Draw a card. Block. You may discard this during a confrontation to add 2 to your cost. The Riddler. Plus 1 power. You may pay 3 power once per turn. If you do, reveal the top card of the main deck. A foe chooses whether you gain that card or the next card. Bane, plus 1 power, and you may destroy 1 card in your hand. It's kind of weird that Bane's only a 1 power. Poison Ivy, plus 2 power. Attack. Each foe discards a block from his hand. Killer Croc, plus 2 power. You may destroy a hero in the lineup. During a confrontation, add 1 additional power if there are no heroes in the lineup. Hugo Strange, draw 2 cards. Talia al Ghul, 3 power, block, and you discard this during confrontation, add 3 to your cost. And finally, Clayface. You may play a card with a cost of 4 or less from any foe's discard pile and then return it. If you choose not to, plus 1 power. So if we look at the Joker's superpowers, he has 2 copies of Insanity. Plus 1 power, defense. You may discard this card to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card. 2 copies of the Killing Joke. Plus 2 power and draw a card. Block. You may discard this during a confrontation. If you do, add 4 to your character's cost this turn. 2 copies of Homicidal Maniac. Reveal the top card of your deck, draw it, or destroy it. And 2 copies of Maniacal Laugh. Plus 1 power. During a confrontation, draw 2 cards. Our equipment, he's going to get 2 copies of Joy Buzzer. Plus 1 power. During confrontation, that foe discards a card from his hand. And 2 copies of Laughing Gas. Plus 2 power. Attack. Each foe gains a weakness. The location, so we got Arkham Asylum. Or Arkham Asylum. Once during each of your turns, put a villain from the discard pile on the bottom of your deck. Or the Abandoned Amusement Park. Add 1 to your character's cost. Alright, so that was all the stuff we have for DC Rivals, Batman versus the Joker. Yes, I've talked a little bit about all the other sets, but yeah, definitely this can be a fun thing to get. If you're just looking, yeah, if you like the deck building, you maybe played the other games or know people that have them, or you played other deck building games, but maybe you want something that's, I don't have 4 people sitting around, I just like to play a little one-on-one, or maybe you like more of the versus style games. This is definitely a way to go. Like I said, you can pick up the other sets, you can have 2 versus 2 battles, or you can have, you could potentially even have 4 versus 4 free-for-all, like heroes versus villains, or however you want to do it. There's plenty of options with different characters. The other thing is really neat is I don't think it's Kickstarter exclusive, but I know it was part of the Kickstarter campaign. I think it's going to be in the upcoming Multiverse storage box, is you're going to have little extra tokens for 9, 12, and 15, so that you can turn any single character, any character you have into characters for the rivals. Because they're also coming out with Flash versus Reverse Flash. So there'll be another 2 characters you can play, and then if you buy that multiverse box, you'll have the option of turning any character into a thing. So then you'll instead have 3 different characters for your level. Now they won't have confrontation abilities on their cards, so they might not be as powerful. But even still, even with these guys, the Joker, they only had it on their last card. So the other 2 cards didn't even have confrontation abilities. So the other ones just work like any other card. It's kind of neat because you could also include these guys, except for the last one with confrontation. You could include these versions with something else. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Alright, so check out the other videos I have. See you guys later. Bye.